Welcome out to the backyard today, and today we're going to do something really, really special for you. Let me make sure my microphone is turned on. Yes, it is. We have some pheasant. I have some friends and co-workers that were gracious enough to supply us with a couple of pheasants, and we're going to prepare that for you. And the rain may be moving in, so we're going to kind of rush through this a little bit at first to kind of get things caught up. We're going to do a meal with these pheasants. So in here, we've got some small Yukon potatoes about this big, and a couple of small ears of corn and some water. Now all we're going to do is put that on the smoker. We want that to steam in here and cook. We're going to let that go. That's the simple part of this dish. Let's talk about this pheasant. And you can come in here a little closer if you want to. I took this pheasant and I quartered it. So basically I have the leg quarters of the pheasant and the two breast, back, however you want to put it together. So we have this. Now, this is wild. To me, wild fowl or wild birds do not have the gaminess that other wild meat has. Wild boar and bear and stuff like that. The meat really has a gaminess and you have to treat it well. As far as birds, I've never had a bird that has had any type of real strong flavor to it. They've all been really, really nice. And for those of you, I already cut this up, and I probably shouldn't have done that. For those of you that aren't familiar with a pheasant, it's in between a Cornish hen and a small chicken. So if you can imagine, I'll put the two breasts up here together, that's how that would have been, about that big. So it's not real big, but for two people, this is going to be way more than what we need. And again, I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to have friends and coworkers that provided this for us. We're going to put this on the smoker and we're going to cook this. And you don't have to really treat this much at all. And we have a sauce that we have made up. We'll go into that in a minute. But I'm going to go ahead and set this on the smoker. And we're going to let that go. Now, for those of you that have followed me in the past and have seen other videos, I typically use oak. All right. But on fish and fowl, I don't have a problem using fruit wood. So we've dropped a couple of pieces of apple in the firebox to add a little apple flavor to our smoke. But most of our wood is oak, but we did try to season it. Just something I believe. I don't even know if there's any trueness to it, just how I was raised. So fruit wood for fish and fowl, and other good wood for anything else. Again, on this pheasant, to me, the reason birds don't have a foul or a wild flavor or gaminess to them is because of what they eat. They're eating insects and grains and other stuff that's around the area. They're not a carnivore or a meat eater or anything like that. And I believe that that has something to do with why the meat is gamey. Also, birds are pretty active. They fly a lot, so they use their muscles quite a bit. And I believe that activity also kind of helps in that not being gamey. But I've never had a quail or a goose or any type of dove or anything, even a pheasant. I've never had any of that that's had a real gamey flavor to it. The meat have a little slightly different texture because it's an active animal. It's not captive. When you eat a chicken out of the grocery store, that chicken's in a small box, or a hen house with millions of chickens, and it's fed grain and doesn't move around very much. These birds are out there working, so the meat's going to have a little different texture to it, a little tougher, but we're just fine. We're going to baste this with a butter sauce. Now, y'all can look in our videos on Spatchcock Chicken. This is the stuff we put on that Spatchcock Chicken, and you can go there and you can get the ingredients to this. It's real simple: salt, pepper, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, an Italian seasoning, and a stick of butter. I'm going to baste this on here real quick. Now this pheasant doesn't have any skin on it, so this is skinless. So we're going to flip this over as it cooks, and we're continue to baste this pretty good. Now we're not going to cook this real fast. These pieces are real small compared to a chicken. So we're not going to be real aggressive at how much heat we throw on here. We want some good smoke flavor, and we want this meat to be really tender and moist. So we don't just really want to pounce on it with the heat, if that makes sense. I'm going to flip these over real quick and do the other side. And folks, I've had several people ask me how to come see us or where we're at. Well, we're going to be, the next public event that we have scheduled is in Texarkana, Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas, however you want to say it. It's going to be on March the 9th at the Four States Fairgrounds. And it is the 6th or 7th annual Wagons for Veterans. There'll be probably 15 chuck wagons there, maybe a little more at this event. And we're going to be there. And you're more than welcome to come out and say hello to us. We would certainly enjoy you coming by and talking to us. There's going to be several people there. And for a little bit of money, you can sample foods off not only our chuck wagon, but you can sample foods off a lot of other chuck wagons. And won't you come on out and see us? So, folks, we got this meat on. We're going to let it cook. We also have them potatoes and corn on. We're going to let this cook, and we'll come back later. Hey, folks, welcome back out here to the backyard. Rain has kind of slipped around us. Did get a shower, but it kind of, the heavy stuff kind of had cut past us a little bit. Been doing a lot of cooking out here today. Y'all ready to see this pheasant? It's about ready to come off. Let's see if we can't get this pheasant off here. Now, folks, one thing I'm going to tell you is I always tell people to let their meat come to room temperature before they cook it. Do not do that with fish or chicken. Okay? Keep fish or chicken cool until you're ready to actually serve it. Now, this is going to be hot. This is dark, folks. It's game meat. It's going to take on a little dark, but we had the paprika and a bunch of other seasoning in our butter dish. We got her out here, and then we're kind of burning our fingers just a little bit. But let's get a piece of this off here. That's really, really good, folks. Again, it's dark, but it's the seasoning we put on top of there. We're really good inside. Really good meat, folks. Now, we got the rest of this meal. So, in the pit, remember we got those potatoes and that corn. We've set us a skillet in here for it to start getting hot. We want to add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil to that. We'll let this skillet get hot, because what we're going to probably do is make some of this into smashed potatoes. Not mashed, but smashed. Here we go, folks. We got 2 ears of corn that we're going to zip out of here. Now, we got these potatoes in here. I'm going to take this glass and we're going to push down on them just to kind of smash them into little round circles. We're not going to be able to do all of these inside the pan, but we'll get a few of them done. We just want to mash them just a little bit. Okay? We don't have enough room to get them all, so we'll come back and get them other ones. Grab a spatula real quick. Now, we got this skillet in here getting hot. We're going to put these on there and give them a little bit of sear. Remember, we got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in this pan. And you can hear them go as soon as we get them in there. That's not going to take real long, folks. Let's get the rest of these smashed off. And as we're getting this last bit of this meal, and I really squashed that one, folks. As we're getting the last bit of this put together, we just want to remind y'all we're going to be in Texarkana, Texas, March the 9th. Why don't y'all come on by and see us? We would sure enjoy y'all coming out. It's always nice if we recognize your name as a follower of us. It's always good to put a name with a face. So come on out and say hello to us. This is only going to take a minute, and we'll pop back in here in just a second. All right, folks, we got these potatoes already done up here. And they're not the prettiest, but we got them here. Grab a couple of these out of our skillet and put them on the plate so you can see what they're going to look like. And we zoom in here in a minute. Y'all come on up here and take a look. We're going to talk a little bit about this plate. Now, a lot of people are going to say, man, this is really dark. It's really overdone. It's really tough. No, it's the seasoning we put on the outside of the bird. There wasn't any skin on this bird either. If you want to look at the inside, you can see here on the breast, we're good and tender, and we're still really moist. We got our smashed potato and our corn on the cob. So we're going to go enjoy this evening, folks. Y'all have a good one. And I got to do one thing. And I will tell you, my wife told me not to do this, but there is a fancy dish somewhere in the world that's called pheasant under glass. Here's pheasant under glass, folks. My wife's looking at me like I'm crazy. Pheasant under glass, country style. Enjoy your food.